Hi, everyone. For years, fans believed the tension between Rob Reiner and Carroll O'Connor on All in the Family was more than just acting, that maybe the heated debates between Meathead and Archie Bunker spilled into real life. Were they rivals behind the scenes? Did politics and personalities clash off camera as fiercely as they did on screen? Or was the truth something entirely different? Today, at 78, Rob Reiner finally breaks his silence and tells us what really happened. And his revelation changes everything you thought you knew about one of TV's most legendary partnerships. Rob Reiner was born Robert Reiner on March 6, 1947, in the Bronx, New York. His childhood was anything but ordinary. His father, Carroll Reiner, was already a towering name in comedy, a writer and performer on Your Show of Shows, and the creative mind behind The Dick Van Dyke Show. Growing up in that household, storytelling and laughter weren't just entertainment, they were the family business. Young Rob soaked it all in. Timing, character, and the rhythm of a punchline became second nature. It was his first classroom and his father was the teacher. But Rob knew from the start that if he was ever going to make his mark, he would have to step out of Carroll Reiner's shadow and build a career of his own. That chance came in the early 1970s. Rob Reiner landed the role of Michael Meathead. Stivic in Norman Lear's groundbreaking sitcom, All in the Family, he played the liberal son-in-law of Archie Bunker, portrayed by Carroll O'Connor, the show's iconic bigoted patriarch. It was television unlike anything audiences had ever seen. Using humor, the series tackled race, politics, gender roles, and generational divides. America debated it at dinner tables, critics analyzed its impact, and politicians even referenced it. At the center of all this cultural energy was the push and pull between Archie and Meathead. For Rob Reiner, it was the role of a lifetime, one that earned him awards, recognition, and a platform. But it also came with a heavy challenge. Every scene meant going head-to-head with Carroll O'Connor, a performer so commanding he could silence a room with nothing more than a pause. For years, fans assumed that the clashes on screen reflected a rocky relationship off-camera. After all, Reiner's liberal character and O'Connor's conservative Archie were polar opposites. The rumors claimed they didn't get along, but Rob Reiner himself has now set the record straight. "We didn't fight off camera. We didn't hate each other," he explained. Quite the opposite. "We had enormous affection for each other. Carroll was like a mentor to me. I learned so much just watching him work." According to Reiner, O'Connor was one of the most brilliant actors he had ever seen. Archie Bunker could have easily been a cartoon, a one-note stereotype, but Carroll gave him something more: humanity. He made Archie both maddening and strangely relatable. Off-set, Carroll O'Connor was nothing like Archie. Reiner described him as gentle, thoughtful, even shy. He loved books. He despised bigotry, and he hated the very prejudices Archie embodied. But he understood the role's power. "If people aren't uncomfortable," Carroll once told Rob, "then we're not doing our job." That single line left a permanent mark on Rob Reiner's philosophy about art. It taught him that entertainment wasn't just about laughter or comfort. It was about pushing people to think, to question, and to feel. While many actors might have been typecast after such a defining television role, Rob Reiner reinvented himself. In 1984, he made his directorial debut with This Is Spinal Tap. What started as a mockumentary about a fictional rock band quickly became one of the most beloved comedies of all time. Its deadpan humor fooled some viewers into thinking it was a real documentary, proof of Reiner's ability to capture absurdity and truth in the same breath. It was just the beginning of an extraordinary second career. In 1986, Rob Reiner directed Stand By Me, based on a novella by Stephen King. It was a tender and timeless story of childhood, friendship, and the painful realization of mortality. The film captured the fragile transition from innocence to maturity, resonating with audiences across generations. Critics hailed it as one of the most poignant coming-of-age films ever made. And decades later, it continues to stand as a masterpiece of emotional storytelling. Just a year later, Reiner showed his remarkable range by directing The Princess Bride. A film that combined fantasy, comedy, romance, and adventure. It defied categorization. While it didn't initially dominate at the box office, its witty script, memorable characters, and fairy tale charm slowly turned it into a cult classic. Today, it is celebrated as one of the most universally beloved films in cinema history, quoted and revisited by fans of all ages. Then came 1989, when Reiner cemented his reputation with When Harry Met Sally. The romantic comedy was redefined under his direction, blending witty dialogue with sharp, authentic observations about love and relationships. Starring Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal, the film delivered one of the most iconic moments in movie history, the legendary diner scene that still sparks laughter and conversation today. It wasn't just a hit. It became a cultural milestone, shaping the romantic comedy genre for decades. As if that weren't enough, in 1992, Reiner once again proved his versatility with A Few Good Men. The military courtroom drama delivered tension, power, and unforgettable performances. Jack Nicholson's thunderous line, "You can't handle the truth," entered the American lexicon and remains one of the most quoted moments in film history. Even while becoming one of Hollywood's most respected directors, Reiner never abandoned acting. He appeared in the dark comedy Throw Mama from the Train in 1987, Nora Ephron's Sleepless in Seattle in 1993, and Woody Allen's Bullets Over Broadway in 1994. His supporting roles in The First Wives Club, Primary Colors, and EDTV further showcased his ability to adapt to any story. Reiner even gave himself cameos in his own films, most memorably as the faux documentarian in This Is Spinal Tap. Later, he continued surprising audiences with appearances in 30 Rock, New Girl, and even Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street, where he held his own opposite Leonardo DiCaprio. Each role reminded audiences of his wit, warmth, and undeniable adaptability. Behind the camera and away from the spotlight, Rob Reiner's personal life was just as eventful. In 1971, he married actress Penny Marshall, who was already a rising name in comedy and would later go on to direct hit films like Big and A League of Their Own. During their decade together, Rob legally adopted Penny's daughter, Tracy Reiner, who would later appear in films such as Apollo 13 and Die Hard. Though the marriage ended in 1981, it left an important mark on both their lives and careers. Then, while directing When Harry Met Sally, Reiner met photographer Michelle Singer. Their connection changed not only his life, but also the ending of the movie itself. Originally, Reiner planned for Harry and Sally not to end up together, but falling in love with Michelle convinced him to rewrite the script with the now famous happy ending. The two married in 1989 and went on to raise 3 children together, Jake, Nick, and Romy. Michelle, Reiner often says, brought joy, balance, and inspiration that carried him through the decades. Looking back now, Reiner credits Carroll O'Connor for shaping the way he approached art. O'Connor showed him that humor could open minds, that discomfort could spark change, and that acting at its best makes people feel deeply. Reiner carried those lessons into every film he directed. From the tender vulnerability of Stand By Me to the moral conflicts in A Few Good Men. All of it, in one way or another, traced back to Carroll's influence. When asked what he wanted the world to know about his old co-star, Reiner grew emotional. The truth is, Carroll O'Connor was one of the kindest men I ever met in this business. People thought Archie was him, but he wasn't. He was generous, supportive, and he cared deeply. The world misunderstood him sometimes. I feel lucky, really lucky, that I got to know him. Today, Rob Reiner stands as one of Hollywood's most versatile storytellers, an Emmy-winning actor, an acclaimed director, and a man who has bridged generations of entertainment. From his heartfelt tribute at CBS's Dick Van Dyke, 98 Years of Magic, to his ongoing work in film, he remains a living link between television's golden age and the evolving landscape of modern cinema. But perhaps his greatest legacy is not just the films he made or the characters he brought to life. It's the lessons he carried from those who came before him, his father Carl Reiner and his mentor, Carroll O'Connor. As Reiner himself put it, he wasn't just my co-star. He was my teacher, my friend, and one of the greats. So what's your take? Was Carroll O'Connor unfairly judged because of Archie Bunker? Or did he redefine what television could be? And how do you view Rob Reiner's evolution from sitcom son-in-law to one of Hollywood's greatest storytellers? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share with fellow fans, and subscribe for more untold journeys behind TV and film legends. Thanks for watching.